You're listening to the Talking Tough podcast, creating tough minds for fitness, nutrition, and business. With your hosts, Rob Foster and Josh Phelps.
So in today's episode, we're going to have a throwback of a gym fail today, which is exciting. How success on the golf course is actually like someone's fitness and weight loss journey. So we get to not only bore our wives about talking about golf, we get to do it on the podcast. So that's for everybody.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Rob's 1,000 day streak on my fitness pals. 1,000 days. Woohoo!
Feels like an achievement.
It is. It's powerful. And why the power in the meal plan, dishing them out as freebies, can never work long term. It's it's a big thing. People want meal plans. People want to be told what to do, and I get it. But is it actually that effective? And then obviously we'll round off with my thought of the day. Is that actually stick? I don't even know if people listen to that. By that point, people must have switched off.
Yeah.
Never, I don't think anyone's. If anyone's ever heard a thought of the day, of one of my thought of the days, please give a comment or a like or something, because I'd like to know that my wisdom is getting out there. So haven't got. I'm so if you were to paint or draw someone who's like, full of wisdom, I'd be the last thing you draw. But I'm chucking it out there. I'm reshaping wisdom as we speak.
There might be one person that you help, which makes it worthwhile.
Maybe, and that is actually the truth of it. Actually, in the end of the day, if it's one person that is weird enough to think like me and take something positive from my wisdom and my thoughts, then thank you very much, and please comment so I know that I'm not by myself. Okay, anyway, so gym fail from the archives. I'm going to talk about, actually, it's not really, I wasn't in a gym, but, and I don't want to get my parents into trouble here, but we were very fortunate in the fact that one time when my dad decided he was going to try and get fit, he hired a treadmill so that you can hire gym equipment back in the day. I don't know if you still can do it, but I'm pretty sure
I think you can, yeah.
So he hired this treadmill which looked like a spaceship. Well, me and my brother we weren't allowed on the treadmill, okay? So we weren't allowed on the treadmill. Obviously, we went on the treadmill when they were out. Parents go out, brother's looking after me. Older brother, 4 years, obviously, he's going to put me on the treadmill. Let's see how fast he can go. Absolutely pinging it. I'm thinking, like, I can do it. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not. Feet go from underneath me. I then obviously haven't got any sort of safety thing that pulls us stop or anything because, we're kids, right? I fly off the back, and unfortunately, it was kind of, I don't know, I want to say like 2 or 3 foot from a wall.
I'm sure there's a safety reg to say that you need X amount of distance.
Yeah. Well, turns out Dad didn't do that, and we were kids and idiots. I come off the back. I managed to turn around. My feet, if you can picture this, are up against the wall, and the back of my neck is on the
belt. It's on the belt.
So I am getting a clean shave back of the neck. That is red raw. So obviously didn't cry. You don't cry, do you? I think I screamed so loud my neighbours probably heard. So that was a pretty big gym fail from quite an early age. So if you're listening, kids, which you probably definitely aren't, tell your kids this story. Don't be a fool. Don't jump onto equipment you don't know how to use, because it can end up very badly. As you can imagine, back of my neck was pretty red, but I'm sure my brother got an earful for that as well. So, because he was babysitting, and I ended up with a red raw back of the neck. You can imagine him. He's probably told me to wear. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah.
He was like, and you're trying to give it the old, be like Eric Cantona, put your collar up, trying to sell it to me, like, it's okay, come on, let's not tell your dad about it, mum and dad about this, trying to, and then, that was it, that was the phrase, are you a man or a mouse? My brother used to say that to me all the time, are you a man or a mouse? The ball would go under, we play football, the ball would go under like somebody's car, and be like, oh, are you a man or a mouse, you're going to get that, like, that is definite, like, older brother bullying tactics. Anyway, I didn't want to be a mouse, so obviously I went and got the ball all the time, got me to do everything by saying that. So, gym fail. Don't put the treadmill on as fast as you can possibly go. If you do go on a treadmill, please use all safety applications and things to keep yourself stopping if you do fall off the back. And if you have a older sibling or if you've got children, people, just be aware that they are going to try and make you do stupid stuff.
Don't succumb to bullying.
Yes, no. Doesn't matter. You could be a mouse. Be a mouse. Anyway, that's my gym fail from the archives. Bringing it back. So, Rob, you've come in this morning, and for those people who are listening...
I told you the story, haven't I, already? Briefly.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
When you play golf, by the way, you like to talk about golf. If you are, I think wives are often called golf widows, aren't they? Because your husband goes out and play golf, and wives do not like golf. I mean, it's probably good to get you out of the hair, sort of thing. But then, unfortunately, you come back and you talk.
5 hour round, they're like, Why does it take so long?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you be back earlier?
I've told Sue it's 6, by the way, 6 hours, 6 hour round. So
the 19th
9 holes is always, it's important. It's an important hole. It's probably the only hole I really ever enjoy on a golf course. But anyway, we're talking about how, you can relate these things to it. So success on the golf course, and, it's like fitness and weight loss journey. So let's talk about your weekend with golf.
I've been playing quite a long time. Actually, as a junior, so I reckon I started about 12 years old or something. Yeah,
4 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit older than that. But as a junior, we used to go around, literally spend the whole of the summer holidays playing golf. So, kind of crafted good skills at that age. On and off throughout the years. Obviously, in the Marines, didn't really get a lot of time to play. But whenever I come back, I used to play pretty well, given I hadn't really hit a ball for months and months and months. But trying to get it back into it over the last few years, obviously, kids don't make it easier, and obviously business side of things, obviously quite a lot of work. But I'd like to think that as a 7 handicapper,
which is good for those people who are listening, by the way, 7 is really good.
I was 6, but that's the part of the story, is that over the last year or two we've been going slowly up. So your handicap actually works in decimal points, and every time you play badly, usually you go up by 0.1 if you're a low handicap. So I'm 7 now. So I still like to think I've got the skills. I've got the skills to play to a low handicap.
Yeah, you're a good golfer.
But occasionally it comes out the bag that I'm pretty much like a beginner again. Can't seem to do anything, got no touch, get all the bad luck. Like literally, if anyone's played golf, the score when nothing goes right, and like anything, what is going wrong?
Everyone has days like this, right? You have that day you wake up and like you pick something up out of the cupboard and everything drops on the floor. You're like, oh, my day's going to be terrible.
On the golf course, it can be such a mental negative thing to just hit one bad shot, and then the whole round is potentially ruined because you're thinking about that. You get into a bad spiral of thoughts. Your skill set just seems to disappear. You're like, why can't I just hit a shot? Why can't I just play like I can play? But yeah, long story short, I nearly gave it up till 2021. I was like, this is it. I'm done. I just don't want to.
I'm never drinking again. I'm never playing golf again.
It's that thing. It's the same thing, and we can. And I was going to say, there's so many points that we can relate to the diet, the fitness world through this. So, my first thoughts are, what can I buy to make it better? I need to buy a new club. I need to get lessons. I need to do this and the other. Now, the easy thing would be to buy a new bit of kit. The hard thing would be to go and practice, obviously.
So what did you buy?
Well, I've looked at new putters. But I also know that the real benefit will be coming in looking at what's going wrong and actually addressing those rather than sort of patching up the wounds with new stuff, shiny new things. And it's what people do when I need to lose this weight. What meal plan will make this go away in the shortest amount of time? Because I'll relate that to later on with the meal plans. But we kind of like to think that there is a quick fix out there, and actually the pain of what we're feeling right now can be sorted quickly. Well, yesterday I was like, the pain was going to be sorted by just giving up golf for a bit. I'm going to say, right, 4 months off. Yeah, just forget it. Long story short, again, really, just because I know you're going to bore a load of people with golf here, but I actually played really well on the back 9. So front 9, horrendous.
Lost
almost twice over my handicap, which, for those who knew golf, that's pretty bad. Then almost played like pro-like on the back 9, which kind of sort of turned my mindset.
Do you know what I mean? You've taken the pressure off. Possibly.
And now I don't want to quit. I want to keep going.
Good.
So my wife will be gutted at this because I was thinking, going through my head, I was like, she's going to be buzzing. I'm going to get back and say, I've given up golf for 4 months. And
I think when you said about that, like buying the new thing, right? So let's look at the positives of that. So there are some positives. And the thing being is, if you bought a new golf club, right? Putter, whatever it is.
Say it's a putter, yeah.
Let's the first thing you'd probably go and do is practice putting.
Exactly.
So the thing that you weren't doing, you've actually, instead of going, right, I'm going to buy a new putter and actually not do anything different, just use the new putter, that wouldn't help you. But the action of, I suppose, purchasing that new putter for the short while, you're going to go and practice. And then you're going to putt better because you've practiced, not because of the new putter necessarily, but because you've done the practicing that you needed to do. And like we say with the diet, people are going to get meal plans. So recently, we'll transition into the meal plan a bit later, but people have asked for the new meal plans and they've asked for help. And I said, like, Super September, what do you need? And the same thing come back multiple times, meal plans.
You know what?
we've got views on this, right? And we know, as I say, that actually understanding nutrition better, educating ourselves on it, building good habits, that is going to be the key to long-term success. But giving people a new meal plan, and honestly, I gave them a pretty cookie-cutter meal plan. Grace worked on it, so it wasn't just me putting down what I eat, because I probably eat weird stuff, so I wanted to get another opinion on it. Grace, has worked with a lot of clients recently, working on their nutrition, so we've come up with something. I've adapted it slightly, and we've given that out. And on purpose, it's kind of been a cookie-cutter meal plan, because Tuesday night, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a live Zoom, and I want to hear the problems they've got with it, because they will have problems with it, right? If I was to turn around to you and tell you to eat exactly the same as Grace, I think one of the meals was Linda McCartney's mozzarella burger or something. I mean, I don't even know where you get Linda. Who is Linda McCartney? No, I'm joking, but it's like, where do you get it from? Like, so straight away, that could be an issue for me. It's like, what's the magic behind Linda McCartney's burger? Well, nothing. There's lots of things to do, but I wouldn't eat a mozzarella burger, like personally. So that meal plan already breaks down for me. And then I might be going, oh, crikey, what do I do? But on the flip side of it, I've given it to someone who's taken action straight away. So they're obviously quite keen. And they've gone, right, I know you've given me that meal plan. I've got to be honest with you, I've completely changed it. I was like, cool. The only reason they've been able to change it is because they understand how to change it in the right way. So, all right, the initial action of getting a meal plan was more so just to take action and be accountable. And that's exactly what she said. She went, I want the accountability. I don't want the meal plan. I said, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So we've then looked at the changes in which she's made. We'll go over that, and we'll go through all of these different things with each client for the meal plan. So creating your own meal plan is very, very effective. So that's almost like the practice, right? Because by looking at it and going, right, well, I need to adapt it, and understanding and spending the time on potentially coming to the Zoom on Tuesday night is now technically like that practice part, right? But the initial purchase of meal plan, they didn't purchase it, but buying the putter has now kickstarted them to do that. This is great for now. But one of the points we're going to go into is in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, when this buzz of practicing with the new putter or the buzz of the new meal plan sort of dies out, and actually, do you know what? You have a few bad putts, you don't get to practice with it, things are going wrong again. You're like, oh, crikey, you're going to get fed up, and you're like, have I just wasted all my money? Then you get into the old effort syndrome again. You're like, I'm not doing this again. Can't believe I just spent £300 on a putter.
There's many more clubs to
purchase. Start putting with your driver. Then. But like with a meal plan, you're going to be like, you know what, this meal plan doesn't work for me. I must have slow metabolism, or I must have a thyroid thing, or it must be my hormones or my age, or I can't. Because the buzz has worn off, right? And they're not maybe doing the things that they did initially. So when they had the meal plan, they go, right, I've got to do this. They've written a shopping list.
They're not doing the putting drills, are they? They're not going to the putting green, practicing certain drills with that. So rather than just going out and playing with it, which is kind of just using the meal plan.
Yeah.
They're not going to the green. They're not putting tees out and trying to practice different distances, different speeds, different slopes.
So with the meal plan, as you say, like when they first start off and they're mega keen, they write down the shopping list.
Yeah.
They go and buy just the things on that shopping list. They almost don't straight. They prep the food. They chop it up. So this meal plan now, and they follow it to the T. And after the first week or two, it's asking, I don't know, maybe it's a bit repetitive. You know, although each day is completely different, so they've got some fun with it. They might, I'm just a bit bored of prawn stir fry, or fed up of Greek yogurt. And without understanding what they could maybe change that out for, then it's like, well, I've got to carry on doing this because this is the magic. And actually, it's not the magic. It's not the butter. It's not the exact meal plan that I've written out. Because the reality is, I don't eat that personally. Like, if I was trying to lose weight on the same calories, which obviously doesn't work. And this is the other thing, right? That putter for you and for me could be completely different, right? Without being rude, if we bought the same putter at the same height, we're both different heights, it'd probably be a very different situation, right?
Broom handle versus...
And if somebody else has the same meal plan, I've given them the same thing, right? There's 20, 30 people different. I've done this on purpose, right? 20, obviously I can work with people and give them individualized stuff, and that's what we're going to do. And I want them to work with me to individualize it. So I'm not giving them the answers. I want them to understand and educate. That's the only way I'll give a meal plan. But come Tuesday, right, they're going to sit there and go, well, I think 1,600 calories is quite a lot. Okay, let's have a discussion about that. Let's all understand what that means. Oh, well, do I do this on... What happens if I don't train on this day? Or what happens if I do that? Okay, I can't eat breakfast. I do eat breakfast. I need breakfast. I don't like that. I don't like raspberries. You put raspberries down. I hate raspberries. So we're going to look at all the little niggles and nits and bits that can make us completely shift around. And then we're going to look at some of the things that we've developed, like the protein hack sheets, the carbohydrates, the snack hacks, because not being rude, but the meal plan that Grace had kind of designed, I wouldn't eat. And it's good food, it's lovely food. I probably could eat it and probably enjoy it, especially if I thought there was some magic behind it.
Yeah.
But I'd also look at that and go, do you know what? I'm not dealing with that. That food doesn't work for me. I'm just going to switch it for that because I know how to do that. And it's not me being like, oh, look at me. But I think everyone can know how to do that. And if not, let's say having these simple snack hacks and going, right, well, actually, I don't eat fish. I don't eat prawns. What could I be switching out for? What's another alternative? Well, here you go. Let's look at the prawns. Let's go, what is it actually delivering? Why are we eating it? Oh, it's, maybe 200 calories worth of, food as such, and it's, protein based. It actually has some fat or whatever. Let's look at what I could be doing. Well, actually, if you switch that for some white fish, because that's what you enjoy or prefer, or maybe some chicken or pork or whatever, what's the differences between the two? How much do I need to have? If I'm having X amount of prawns, what could be a similar? It's not going to be perfect, right? But I also understand that as long as I'm not going, right, I'm going to switch out 4 prawns for, I don't know, a load of steak and, and it's, because that's going to be quite different on the calories consumptions and whatever. And actually, that's still fine, but what do I have to do to manipulate the rest of it? So meal plans, I feel like we kind of jumped to that one a little bit early, probably, but there you go.
I just want to know who's going to give me a free putter, like dishing out meal plans.
Just dishing out meal plans, mate, is what
anyone watching that's...
listen, I can throw you a putter. I can definitely give you a putter, but if you've seen me putt, which you have, you probably wouldn't want my putter. And that's the reality of it as well, right? There's a million different putters out there. There's a million different meal plans. The reality is, unless we start to understand the usage of how to do the thing, it's kind of irrelevant. It might work short time for a little while because you've got the buzz and you're doing the practice, but that's the thing. What I'm excited about, right? Super excited. 1,000 days. That's like lots of days. Does
anyone here listening, watching, do you track on MyFitnessPal? Because that's what Josh is talking about. 1,000 day streak.
Not just 1,000 days of streaking. I mean, that
means like consecutive days that I've tracked on that app.
So
and
without being rude, and I'm not going to be.
What is that like?
It's nearly 3 years, like, right? Isn't
yeah.
it? So I'm going to say this, and I mean this. People are like, oh my god.
How
they're gonna be like, yeah. They're going to be thinking, what?
You know what that means, isn't it?
What?
This included Christmas Day, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
The holidays. Oh, what, you did that while you're away? Well, I'm going to go into that in a bit.
And this is the thing, is I think when you say you're tracking, right, everyone thinks that you're dieting. Yeah. And when you say dieting or doing a diet or following something, they don't see it as a nutrition plan. They see it as a restriction. So you say the word diet or tracking or calories even. You say the word calories, people think you're dieting. And they think you're putting yourself on a restriction. Tracking your food, listen, I could track and be eating Burger King, McDonald's, just because I'm writing it down doesn't make me lose weight, right? It just, and this is the other things people, or it does because, or it doesn't, sorry, but people just don't put down the McDonald's or the Burger King or whatever. Yeah. Oh, my calories, I've been tracking for like 3 years and I'm completely off track because you're not tracking everything properly, What it says to me, all right, and it's pretty, I don't, listen, here's a flip side.
Opposite,
I don't do it.
You didn't do it, no.
I
reckon you generally undereat for the amount of output and the activity you do. You probably do undereat from what I've seen, but then you then admit that you overeat.
Yeah, and I binge on treats. So I can listen. Nutrition is individual, right? And I've got to be honest with you. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at the moment. I don't want to put too much of a stress on.
That's the main thing, though, isn't it? Really, that's the big thing is you need to be happy with what you're doing.
And the relationship with tracking, my relationship with tracking is very different to your relationship with tracking. So the first time I started tracking properly is when I gave up alcohol, chocolate, crisps, sweets. I didn't touch anything and I measured everything. And it was to a point when I competed and I almost got, not unhappy, but pretty stressed by the process. So my relationship with tracking is stress. So that's my correlation, and I know it's not the tracking that stresses me, but it does because I'm almost in a weird way a little bit.
You go back to that.
Yeah, I go back to this mindset of I have to do it exactly to the point, and I'm messing around and I'm constantly weighing stuff, and then I'm not eating with Sue, and I'm
7 grams of oats too much.
But
I've spilled my rice. That's not going to make any difference.
But that's where my relationship comes with tracking. So for me, I track every now and again, just more so to see where I'm at, keep me back on. But I've got a good understanding of what I need to be doing nutritionally, so I can kind of get away with it. But
usually 30 days, now and again.
If I wanted to get the best results from my training, you're 100% right. I'm almost getting subpar results for the amount I train, the amount I do, because I'm not tracking.
But you're getting less stress for it.
But so then there's that.
So actually, then if you're stressing yourself out,
exactly,
stress being it actually could prevent weight
Has a
loss
catabolic effect on muscle growth, right?
In terms of that, yeah. It's
Increase
almost
of hormones that
cortisol,
could,
which relates to
storage of fat. So you can balance that out, right? But there's also a way of going, right, do you know what? Like can I do it in a way that doesn't stress me? I don't go, right, as long as I understand it, which I do, but I just got to be honest, it's laziness as well on my part. Yours is a habit. Again, you've built it as a habit.
The habit is autonomous, really, to be honest. And now I know the portion size of things pretty much. I do the same stuff, like the same habits of putting a bowl on the scale, but I know how much is going in anyway. I don't necessarily need to do that. I could have... I've got a protein scoop in the oats, so it's literally the same scoop, but I still have the habit of putting it on then putting it in after. The good thing about that what I found is that if I do go out to eat, go off track or anything like that, I kind of know what I've gone off by, and I can just get back on track. Yeah. Not to say that I've got real super sort of goal set in at the moment, but it's just having an idea. And I've gone sometimes retrospectively added things in or assumed a certain intake of that day. So I might have gone out, on holiday, I might have gone out for 2 meals that day. And well, okay, I'll probably add this and this. Just chucked it in really, and just gone, I'm thereabouts. Not really bothered with the actual total of that day because I've enjoyed the food.
Yeah.
But again, it's a habit. Spent 30 seconds doing nothing, so I'm just like, I'll just have a quick.
So I think a big thing maybe for listeners is then, or for people who are going, right, you know what, I thought about this MyFitnessPal, but I absolutely hate tracking, it stresses me, whatever, or I don't really know the best way of doing it, how can I get accuracy, or should I even bother, am I at that stage? What's a couple of things you'd say about how did you make, because obviously you had to start 1,000 days ago, right? I
probably did it, I've done it for years, but that on and off, but yeah. So the first thing is, it's an open source database. So MyFitnessPal is something people can add foods into it, and they can put the calorie totals, the proteins, fats, and carbs. So there's inaccuracies in it if you don't know what you're doing. I've said it before, but a client came to us and said, I'm having 800 calories or whatever it is a day. I said, well, let me share your MyFitnessPal login, or show the diary setting so I can see what you're doing. And I instantly saw that bacon was on there. Oh yeah, I'm having a bacon sandwich, and it was like a 200 calorie for a whole bacon sandwich. I'm like, instantly I knew that was wrong. Looked at the bacon, it was like 13 calories for a rasher, and there was no macronutrients added in. So I was like, well, that's going to skew all the numbers. So even if you're doing everything right, the habit of tracking was great, but he was still well over because he just thought that what he was eating was under. If that makes sense. So the idea, if you put a food into MyFitnessPal, you get it correct, but people don't. They're late. They don't know what they're doing, and you may search for bacon, and you put it in, and you just pick that because that's the top one that comes up, and you put it into your day, but it's the incorrect one, and that will just make everything else not correct.
And things like serving sizes of it as well. So
exactly. Of. Some people just put like one cup of bacon because they just choose the wrong things. What the hell is a cup anyway? We don't use a cup. But there's loads of different serving sizes on there, and you need to know the grams of things. We'll come to that in a second. But the best thing, first off, is to look for things with a green tick or scan a barcode. But even the barcodes are wrong. I've scanned things before, and I'm like, it just brings up completely random things. So because it's something that someone can add stuff to, right? So someone who doesn't have a clue what they're doing can put in food and their recipe or something like that, and if you choose that as the thing you've put in, that'll be incorrect. So the best thing, the nutritional values on packets should be pretty accurate, but they're usually set around 100 grams. So say if you to put bacon in, you scan the packet, it didn't come up with anything, or it did and it had 100 grams, then you know that, well, if you look at the packet and it's got 150 grams of bacon, well, and there's 10 of them in there, you know that each one's 15 grams, and you had 2 of them, so that's 30. So then you'd put 30 grams of bacon in.
Quick maths.
Yeah, I kept it simple, you see. But then, so that's one thing, is look for green tick items because they're verified as correct nutritional value for a start. The serving size, we'll come on to that, obviously is key because you could generally automates to like 100 gram servings of things or the whole packet. So if you had a half a packet of the microwave rice, then you need to put 0.5 of that or half of it, rather whichever way your app works it. and look at the packet, go 250 grams. So half the packet is 125 grams. So you'd know to put that in. So you need to know, you need a kitchen scale for sure, and some measuring devices of some sort would help. You need obviously you need the app. It's free. You don't have to pay for the premium version. I mean, I have before, but there's no real need. The benefits of the paid version is more customized goals and things, but to the gram of your macronutrients. But you don't need that. And also actually using that app, don't take off the exercise calories, because it's already, if you put your activity level in as like moderately active and your body weight, it kind of works out your calories for you if you're using that app to tell you what to eat. And now if you go, subtract my exercise calories, and you link your Fitbit to it, it's going to then take off X amount of calories, 300-400 calories for that day, and then you're going to end up eating back the calories that you took up. Oh yeah, great, I've got 400 calories more. That's just going to outdo everything. So
plus the accuracy of how many calories you've burnt and stuff is completely off. So you can end up actually overeating by doing it. You know, your Fitbit might tell you you've burnt 400 calories in a session. You may have only burnt 250. You then go and eat that 400 calories. You're now actually in a calorie surplus. So now by tracking your food and have the stress of that, you created yourself in a surplus.
Yeah, not great.
Unbelievable. But what I was going to say is more so for this, right? This is how to maybe use and utilize it. I think it's for a lot of people, it's the overwhelm of it, and it's a bit like, right, okay, I've got to download an app, I've got to start to track, I've got where do I start, what do I do? And as you say, maybe scanning barcodes is a good way. I think one of the good things is about your nutrition, and probably what keeps it
pretty simple.
Yeah, keeps it easy to do is that people overcomplicate their food, and I've said it time and time again. I know a lot of people who probably eat 5 different meals in a week of an evening sort of thing. A couple of times they have the same thing. Majority 1 or 2 different lunches, 1 or 2 different breakfasts, similar sort of snacks, because you buy 6 bananas, you have 1 a day, something like that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It can be quite simple. And then not be funny, once it's already in there, you can almost copy and paste, repeat a day. As soon as you type in this, if you're doing the same amount of servings, as you say, if you're having the same amount of oats of a morning, for instance, and the same sort of size banana, and you've already got them in there. It becomes so simple.
Meals, recipes and things.
Yeah. So
I actually haven't done that, and I didn't want to spend the time to go and do that. I should have done it from the start, but I'll just do it. I'll just copy and paste. I had that a few days ago. Copy straight to the.
If you're like me, you buy maybe a packet of say you've got chicken, for instance, or whatever it be, and it might be 200 odd grams of whatever sliced chicken. I don't know, but you kind of use the same amount of seasoning. Yeah. 1 pepper. Half an onion, as you say, you create that meal and you go, right, I use, I don't know, 1/3 of the light soy sauce on there. I'm stir frying up. I've got half a pack of Uncle Ben's. There's my chicken stir fry. I have that possibly at least once every 2 weeks, if not once or twice a week, or a version of it. Yeah. And it's already in there. It's so simple. So then it's like, right, I don't even have to do that sort of side of things.
The work's done once. But the danger is, if you get used to your portion sizes, then great. Okay, you can add them straight in. But if you go somewhere else that you don't know, if you go out to eat, kind of skews things up a bit. Yeah. So the best thing is to almost use like for like. Now it's not, and we've said it before, like restaurants, you probably want to assume that it's maybe 20-25% more of the calories of a certain meal. But if you're like, all right, I had a spaghetti bolognese out somewhere, and you're like, well, I don't really know, I can't put in each individual ingredient in because I've never made it at home. Just search for something like Tesco ready-made spaghetti bolognese, or a restaurant outlet that does have it in the search results, and look at the portion size. And I mean, again, it's probably knowledge of what we have, but I would assume that a restaurant serving size might be between 800 to 1,000 calories for that particular dish, unless it's got some of them have 600 calorie or under. They promote that because that's kind of a part of their eating healthy.
You've got those obviously slightly more caloric meals where
but if you eat a pizza, like a full, say if you had full Domino's, it's probably like 1,600 calories. Oh yeah,
easy. Yeah.
But people don't have that knowledge. So that's the danger, is that you kind of still think you're eating like you're at home. If you've got meals saved, there's probably going to be, when you eat out, they're going to be more. The good things are that you actually get an idea of when you do go over. So we'll come back to why we do it. Well, I'll stop tracking. I stopped yesterday. I'll actually probably, if I want to get in shape, lean up, but I'll probably go back and go.
I advise you getting in shape, Rob. That's
so
I'll get you sorted out.
We'll wait till summer of 2021, and then I'll probably do a 30-day stint of tracking everything. And now, if you're starting fresh right now, it's good to just get an idea of what things are, portion size. Well, yes, it's a bit of work. It's actually quite a lot of work, but don't let that put you off, because you can make it easier and easier as you go along.
The payback's tenfold. Like, it's so good when you sound stupid, but you can put your mind. Say for me, right? I did it for however long. It's, without being rude, I don't track, and I'm roughly there or thereabouts. As you say, if I wanted to up my game and had a real set target and goal, then yeah, I'd start tracking again, and I would start getting a bit more accurate with things. But by having a good long period of tracking for a while, like I've got an idea around my, sort of sounds stupid, but like calories in a banana, the whatever it may be, half a packet of rice with X amount of chicken. I know roughly how much I should be having to a point. So if you do it for 30 days and you go, right, well, I've got 5 or 6 different meals, X amount of snacks, I go through this, just learn those things at least at that point. And as you say, the difference is when you start going by eye and you stop doing the measuring, it creeps up and stuff. So, but if you can be like smart, and like Rob said, you've got like a certain mug's worth of oats or a protein scoop if you're like us, and you go, right, well, that's it, I have 3 or 4 of those, and I know roughly there or thereabouts it's 100 grams or 80 grams or whatever it is, which is quite a lot, by the way, just in case you're going to start copying my oat intake, maybe go for something like 40. But you don't have to then get the scales out every time. No. And if you go, right, well, I know chicken breasts vary massively, but if you're purchasing them from the same sort of place and you get it by eye, you go, right, that's roughly my palm size, I know that's maybe 100 odd, something of 200 grams or whatever it is you consume roughly, and you chop it up and you have the same amount each time. Yeah, okay, there's going to be a variance, but if it takes away the stress of actually weighing it out after you've cooked it, whatever else it be, and you're using the same, light coconut milk, and you're having roughly half, and you're having the same amount of spices and vegetables, you put in a similar sort of thing, then yeah, you've got an idea. And yeah, then you have a curveball and you have a homemade lasagna or whatever, because you fancy something different, and you're like, oh crikey, I didn't measure all this stuff out. Or not being funny for me, Sue might, my wife might make me something, and I'm like, this looks fantastic, but I've got home, and in the politest way, she's probably used a jar of something, within that, the white sauce, and she has done the mince, and she's done whatever, and I don't know, what's in that white sauce unless I get the jar, and I'm not maybe going to go rummaging through I could do, it would be outrageous, but so I'm like, oh, right, and at that point, I know I'm going to have a heavy portion size. I know it's going to be, so I would go, as you say, maybe go onto it and go, right, Tesco's 2 serving sizes, because I'm going to overestimate. If I'm someone who's trying to lose weight, then I'm going to overestimate. I'm going to give myself almost the worst case scenario, because I'd rather do that than go, oh, maybe I could get away with doing this. And then later on I decide to eat more calories because I think I've got more calories in the bank. There's a good chance I've absolutely smashed through my calories in one sitting. By the way, calories, don't just finish in the day. If you go over on one day, you can obviously, rectify.
You can work off a 7-day average. But the one point on that is the negative of it is, I've been guilty of having loads of calories left over in the evening when we've been trying to eat more and get into a calorie surplus, and people will be like, what? But I've got to the evening once and had like 900 calories to eat, and it's like 7 at night. How can I get 900 calories in before I go to bed? I need to hit that total. So there's me just like looking at cereal, the cluster.
Oh, don't.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cluster cereal.
It's been out of my mind. I can't believe you brought that back up again. I've stopped that. I had
full
to keep
fat milk, just getting it, and it makes you feel terrible, because then I'm eating calories for the sake of eating it. But then there's also the days where I've eaten stuff. I'm like, oh, I've got like 400 to eat it. I'm like, oh, I just forgot about the thing I had earlier as well. I didn't put it in. So I'm actually over now by 300 calories. So whilst it's good, it's also bad. And right now it's non-existent for me, which is great. So I can free for all, calories are free. So brilliant.
Which is basically the best diet is that calories aren't real, and it's a myth. So newsflash.
But with a meal plan, so you dished out the meal plans for people. With that, if they learnt what each meal, if it wasn't a recipe, if it was just like this and this, and they were like, actually, this meal plan gives me X amount of calories per day for this week. So I don't even have to track. I can use it as something just to gain information from. Write it down physically on a meal plan of what the calories are in each day. Do a bit of maths, work out, or ask us for help, and then we say, brilliant, you're actually consuming roughly X amount for that week.
Yeah.
Let's see where, if it was a weight loss goal, and we can use the scale weight again as a bit of a guide, but how you felt as well is key. But how did that week go? And then if it was great, and they say, oh yeah, well, I lost 2 pounds. Okay, well, you might be in a bit of a calorie deficit through tracking and using that. So let's stick with that and see what happens. Cool. Next week, another £2 off. Brilliant. So something there within that format is working well because they maybe know the amount, or they're like, I've actually not done anything. Nothing's happened. Right. Well, look at the calories in next week. Let's try and take off a little bit, and whether they've been tracking accurately or not, or using the portion size, whichever way it is, at least if we take off a little bit, then they might have sort of kick-started that progress. Do that for 4 weeks and you kind of get an idea, and then you're like, right, well, this meal plan, I've got it taking me 4 weeks to get to it, but whatever's on this is kind of working for me. Now, how can I make something, I mean, obviously if they go for a completely new one now, it may be well off, but hopefully they've got an idea of what each element of that meal plan includes, and they're like, okay, well, I don't want chicken pasta there, I might have lean beef lasagna. But if the total of that meal is similar, then you can kind of just plug and play. That's the power of it, really.
And I think so. The big thing for me is, I'm not going to go quite. This isn't quite my thought of the day, but it is a thought of the day, right? I've set myself and Grace and say, and all the stuff we've done in the past, we've given them, like, and obviously yourself creating a snack check. We've given them, the people with these meal plans, almost everything they need to create a calorie. So, like, if they just wanted to do it and plug and play, as you say, do exactly as it says, there's a good chance they're going to lose weight for the majority of the people that are doing it, because I know who's doing what and stuff, and that's absolutely fine. What I would say is, sometimes you're given a gift of that, for instance. Do you then, and this is quite an interesting thing, but I think sometimes people are given an opportunity. I see this as an opportunity now. You've not had to create this meal plan, which would have taken quite a lot of time, right, and energy, especially when you're unsure of things, and you'd be questioning yourself the whole time. You've almost got this and go, right, what can I now go and learn about this that's created this? What is it? Well, I know exactly. We've put the calories down, the amount of stuff. We've given the snack cheat sheets. Can you now go and make the effort and take this opportunity to really capitalise, to take to take what we've put down and go, right, what could be alternatives? Give yourself 2 or 3 different alternatives, things that you prefer potentially. Like you just said, you might have a chicken pasta, but you might, I prefer a beef lasagna, or I want that once a week, or, actually currently I eat chicken stir fry. I can't see there's anything wrong with that. It's a healthy meal. Well, where can I put that in that would work alongside here? Or actually, do you know what? I'm a tuna sandwich guy. I have tuna sandwich every day. Can that work? Is it possible? Yeah, of course it can. And there's lots of different things you could do and take advantage of that. When this is, I mean this in the politest way, and this is kind of maybe a bit of tough talk, but people look for the easy option, the new putter, as we'll go back to, the free pills option and potions, the free meal plan, the whatever else it is. If you're constantly just going for that, right? I suppose this is going to go into my thought of the day. You can have all the best equipment, the tools, the meal plans, whatever else in the world, but without putting the energy into learning the key fundamentals of why it works, along with being consistent, okay, and the will to keep working through the times that are challenging, okay, I think you're always going to be disappointed, or you're always going to be on the search for something, and that's not a good feeling, right? You want to take the opportunity, get the new putter, and go, right, why does this work? Or what can I do with this new putter to make myself a better putter? I'm going to take it and I'm going to take the time, even if it's 5-10 minutes every other day, and I'm just going to do a little bit more because, you know what, I've invested into this putter. I want to really invest into myself and learning. If I'm given a meal plan, let's look at this meal plan. And rather than just going, right, you know what, I don't really like that, but I can't be bothered to work out what it is. I'm just going to do it because it works. Go, right, do you know what? Yeah, this is working. That's great. Why does it work? Let me understand a little bit more. Give it a bit of energy and time, especially with your body, because it gives you more freedom. You're talking about tracking for 1,000 days, but you can track because you've got so much freedom around your food, because you can play with that, right? If you were tracking and you only thought you could eat the 12 different foods that were put down on your meal plan, you'd have stopped, well, probably 998 days ago, right? There are going to be challenging times, even if you're given the perfect meal plan for you. Even if you've managed to switch out things and learn those things, there's still going to be challenging times, because there's going to be curveballs, as I call them. There's going to be a time when you go out, and even though you've managed to plan in a chocolate bar and a glass of gin and whatever, well, do you know what? There will be the time you go out for a glass of gin and maybe you're a little bit emotional, you have 2 or 3, or you're having a good time, you have 2 or 3, or you eat not just that 2 squares of chocolate you've decided to have, but funny enough, your partner's brought back a nice big bar of dairy milk and you've eaten the whole thing, and those things are going to happen. But if you can understand how to sort of rectify those things, or just accept them and be happy with it, because you know what, it's not the end of the world, then, you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly searching. You have to make a bit of effort, right? There has to be some continuity, consistency as well. Consistency is such a big thing. If you're just going to do 4 weeks of this diet plan and then look for another one and another one and another one, it's more so going to confuse you You know, because you're going to be like, well, that one worked, and this one worked, but they're completely different. And is it because of the grapefruit I ate in the morning, or is it because I'm having prawns, or is it, you know, what's the magic? Is it because I had to drink 500 mils of water before I, you know, what is it? So respect yourself, look at what you can do, give yourself some real time and energy to understand why things work. If you've given it sort of a guidance and a head start, that's brilliant. But don't just, you know, use it as a lean on and I'll just lean on this thing forever, you know, and I'll constantly be searching and searching and searching. Give yourself a bit of time, look into it, look what works, make sure it works as very best it can do for you, your family, your lifestyle. And yes, once again, accept that there's going to be curveballs and challenges, and then you've got to be willing to keep going and not throw in the towel till 2021 on your golf just because you had a bad round, you know? Mm-hmm. It happens. We're all going to be challenged by this. Nobody isn't challenged. You will get challenged. There's so many challenging times. Monday mornings are often challenging for so many people in so many different ways. But if you just went, I'm not going to work again, you'd soon get sacked from your job. Then you'd have loads more stress. Things would pile up. You know, you can't just bury your head in the sand. Sometimes you've got to get at it. You've got to work hard at it. You've got to push through some challenging times, but it's so worth it when you do that, and the outcomes are tenfold.
Get to the putting green and practice that new putter that I'm just about to Google.
I'm going to be.
Don't tell my missus that. She might listen to this, so I'm going to spend her birthday money on that.
Good, right, guys. So listen, if you're interested, obviously, in finding out more and getting more support and help, obviously we are here, but we're also here to help with the education side of things along with the meal plan. Remember, we can give you the exact things. Yeah, that's easy. That's kind of done. But does that help you? Probably not long term. Listen, it might give you the kickstart you need to go out and do the right things, but then make sure you put in the energy to really learn and get the most out of it.
Yeah, if any questions that people have, you know, we'll chuck them on the post. Chuck them on the. You'll see this post up on Facebook as a video, on YouTube, and obviously follow us on the podcast. But do ask questions because we want to hear and want to help.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you very much to those people who reached out about our last podcast, said a few great comments to us personally. Please just comment below and pop it in so other people might get involved and share that, because I say it's really nice to hear that you guys are listening. Sometimes we don't even know that you are, but when we get feedback personally, that's great. But if you can pop it down below, that's really helpful for us, because hopefully other people will see, that's an interesting fact. I'd like to listen. Cool. Good. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Peace.
Thank you.